In 2009, something happened in your life that changed the trajectory of your existence. And whereas most people would have fallen down, you fell up. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. You know, there was a series of things that were occurring at the time. In February, I was laid off from my corporate job. I'd worked in insurance as a litigations claim specialist for about 16, 17 years. And it was the first time I'd ever been involuntarily jobless. But it was during the time the economy started to change. And so I was already battling with this question of purpose. And what is my purpose and what on earth am I here for? And, you know, doing this job, I was over it. And one night I was having a temper tantrum with God. I was like, you know, I'm
been there.
You know, I'm like, I don't really want to get
I was there the other day.
Right. It's like, I don't want to get in the rat race of looking for another job. I knew that I could find one because of my background and experience, but I just didn't want to. I felt like it was a dead-end job, and it was, my church at the time was doing a series called Discovering God's Dream for Your Life. So I sort of rebelled against it. I'm like, purpose, here's another conversation. Everybody read Rick Warren's book, Purpose-Driven Life.
So cliche,
I'm over it. Exactly. And so this particular night, I was like, okay, God, what? If there is a purpose, if you have something specific that you have asked and created me to do, I need you to tell me tonight, because I'm tired. I'm done. I don't want to battle another claim, arguing a neck injury is worth $20,000 when the doctors are telling me it's a sprain, they'll be okay in a week. And I'm telling you, that's about $500, you know? So I'm just over that life.
And that just from the 3 minutes you've been on the show, I can tell that existence is so pedantic and small to you. I could not imagine you selling insurance. And I've known you for 5 minutes.
You know?
I mean, your spirit, you can clap, right? I don't know I mean, your spirit, your energy exudes a sense of groundedness that insurance just ain't gonna get nobody.
You know what happened? It's a salary that had me in a comfortable place for a minute.
A paycheck will do that.
A paycheck will, you know,
won't it
sometimes
do
a paycheck.
But
then when you realize that there's so much more to life than a paycheck. And you're spending this paycheck, you know, at TJ Maxx and Marshalls, and all you're doing is gratifying yourself. And life is so much bigger than that. But after I had this temper tantrum, when I finished acting a fool, I believe God reminded me of an experience I'd had meeting a group of kids in foster care.
Yes, because you had gone to a foster care home, is that right?
Yes, an agency, a foster care agency with my husband. He's an actor, and he was teaching an acting class with the theater group that he was a part of. So I had a chance to accompany him, and on that visit, that experience cracked my heart wide open to see these beautiful souls there, and for no fault of their own. And when the director allowed us to tour the facility, when we went into their rooms, there were twin-size beds, and underneath the beds were dresser drawers, and above the beds were their personal pictures, and they're sharing this space with other girls. And I'm like, this is all they got? This is all they got. And so that just kind of like shook me at my core, because I was an only child for 10 years. I grew up being a little spoiled brat, you know, a little Southern girl, thinking that, you know, you ask for it, mommy and daddy make it happen.
But see, that's what I wanted to ask you, because when I heard about the program and I've you know, read about it, I wanted to make sure that I asked you to, because your experience is different than from these kids. But what is it in you that connected you so profoundly? Because I believe that often your passion is connected to your pain, right? And sometimes you find your passion in your pain. So what is it about your story, your personal journey?
Well, it was the experience of meeting them that I realized they were there of no fault of their own. It could have been me. I could have been born in a situation where something tragically happened to my family and I was placed in a system, or I could have been taken away from my family for any given reason. And I do remember growing up when I would cut up and act bad, My mother would always tell me, girl, I'm gonna send you to that little group home. And I was like, what? But never knew what it was.
Everybody's mama used to say that.
Exactly. I was like, never knew what it was.
Right.
But it was just that reality, that moment that I realized this could have been me.
Yeah.
This could have been any one of us. And I wanted to do something to give back. But also in that experience, I noticed a group of girls, they were sort of misbehaving, acting out. And I was like, okay, these kids are acting out. But they're not just acting out. They're asking for attention. They know company is present. So I'm like, they want attention. Let's give them some attention. And so that's kind of how it all evolved. That's
where the vision came from.
But it was 3 years after I visited
Yeah.
that group home. I recalled that feeling and that emotion
Yeah.
I had. And the girls never left my mind.
Let's stop for a second, because you just said something that's very powerful, that I want the audience that's watching to get it. That sometimes your vision is born in one season of your life, but it doesn't manifest till another.
There you go.
It took you 3 years
3 years.
to give birth to it.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes you got to carry your baby. You know, you got to learn how to sit low.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And most people think that when I get a vision, I'm supposed to give birth to it tonight. I met a young man, I had a young man on the show a couple of days ago, and one of the things I said to him is, young man, stop trying to live your whole life in 2 weeks. Just stop it. And you manifest, you model for us that God, the creator, whatever you believe, will speak to you here and wait until you get there to give birth to it. I just wanted to honor that.
Thank you.
I just wanted to honor that.
Thank you.
Because it shows tenacity to stay faithful to it for 3 years. You know? You know, a lot of people would have given up on it. So let me ask you this. Talk to me about movies for kids, by kids, film festival.
Okay. Well, the program, what we do is we do a 10-week program all year round where we meet with kids in foster care and we allow them to tell their stories their way. So we would produce these films, and at the end of the year, we host an annual Kids Awards presenting movies by kids for kids, and it's our version of like the Golden Globes and the Academy Awards.
I love
we
it.
invite industry professionals out. We send limousines to the group homes to get the kids.
Shut up.
We dress them in hair and makeup.
Really?
We provide gowns and limousines because we want them to know that they deserve just this honor for a commitment that they made to tell their story and the courage. It's a huge accomplishment. So we screen their films and we present them with awards for Best Actor, Best Screenplay, Best Film, Best, and Ensemble Cast. And that's what that is. It's the end of the year celebration.
I honor that so much. I do.
you.
I honor, my soul honors that.
Thank you.
I do. I mean, because I do. It's what's powerful about it is beyond the obviousness of the acclaim of the moment, is that someone would take the time to treat them as if they were at the level they're trying to become.
Absolutely.
And again, once again with you, you're modeling, I think, how we should treat children.
Of course.
Right? Because in every kid there is a king. Right? And if you speak to the king in him or the queen in her, that's which one will stand up.
Exactly.
And when you do what you did for them, you begin to set patterns. I'm a firm believer that children don't need memory. They don't need interpretation. They just need an experience. The interpretation will come later.
Yes.
And that's what you did.
Yes.
That's what you did. Talk to me about why storytelling. What is the power of storytelling?
Stories change lives. When we watch a film that resonates with us, you feel something.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but when I watched Black Panther, I felt something. I was like, wait a minute, I'm ready for this, I'm like, we can do this. I can, and also with Just Mercy.
Yeah.
When you watch powerful stories, it ignites something on the inside of you to either create something of your own, to change your behavior, to just be better as a person. So the power of stories, and we all have a story.
That's
our
true.
stories are not just for us as an individual,
That's right.
but that story has an impact on somebody else's life. So it's just so much, it's for me, it's just an overwhelming experience when I see how much these kids' story is an eye-opening moment for people who just don't understand them, for one. And they're exposing what this looks like. And it creates knowledge for everyone.
Yeah, there's a great line in the scriptures that says, and they overcame by the blood of the Lamb.
And the word of their story,
and
their
the word
testimony.
Of their testimony.
Absolutely.
It's one of my favorite lines because it embodies what you just said. So walk, for people who don't know what the hell we're talking about, talk to the audience about how literally telling your story can heal you.
Well, for what I believe is that a lot of times we think that we're isolated and we go through things and it's just me. I'm the only one going through that.
Yeah.
But when you open up that story, that story connects to so many other people, and it also gives them the courage to tell their story. And then other people are probably going through something so similar to what you're going through. And there's healing in that collaboration. There's healing in being able to say, this is my story. This is my journey. And your journey is often for someone else anyway. It's not necessarily just for you. So.
No, that's powerful. That's clappy too, by the way. That's powerful because I think we are all trying to figure out, am I the only one?
Exactly.
Does anybody else have a sense of how I feel?
Absolutely.
And that idea that your story creates solidarity with people who have a similar story. Never the same, right? But a similar story. That resonates with me so profoundly because I think that what I try to do with this show is to get people to the place where they have the courage and the willingness to tell and live their stories.
Absolutely.
Without apology.
Absolutely.
And you're doing it with children.
Absolutely.
What happens to children when we deny them the opportunity and the space to tell their stories?
Insecurity and fear will wipe you out. It will kill you because you're holding these things in, and that's where, for me, I believe, all sorts of diseases and things take place because we internalize so much. So giving them a voice to be seen, to be heard, to be validated, to be celebrated, because that's what we all need as humans.
Right.
We like being validated.
Right.
It's something powerful to be able to say, oh my gosh, your story helped me. So the opposite of that, to me, is death. I mean, that's what fear and insecurity does.
That's rich.
It will kill you.
Now stay there a little longer because what I hear you saying is that the opposite of telling your story is dying from not telling your story.
Absolutely.
That's powerful. That's powerful. And you have seen it up close with the children that you work with.
Absolutely.
You've seen them come back to life.
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, the first day of class, meeting kids we don't know, they come, they're guarded because they've been hurt. They're in foster care. That alone is damaging to the psychological being. So they come and they're hard and they're, kind of distant. Why should I trust you? And by the end, when we get to that Kids Awards, I see them come from the beginning where I see them as cocoons in a shell. I see beautiful butterflies on the blue carpet, just flying and sailing, and the excitement on their face and the joy. That gives them the courage to face the next.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
Yes.
That's powerful. It is. It is. So your program is a year-round program. It's a 10 to 15-week program. And you bring young people in. And just walk us through what you do with them.
Okay, so it's a 10-week program. The first 5 weeks is screenwriting, where we take a group of kids and we just have them pitch story ideas, any story idea you want. And we're like the executive producers. And what we do is we put them in groups of similar stories because we talk to them about storytelling, genres. We talk to them about antagonists, a protagonist. Like we talk about the structure of story. So there's a fundamental learning experience as well. And then they go through 5 weeks of screenwriting using Final Draft, which is an industry software that professionals use. And at the end of that 5 weeks, they transition into acting, where they really get to talk about those characters that they created. What makes this character behave the way this character behaved? Because a lot of times they're writing stories based on their own life.
Right.
So now we're making you think about what causes you to respond and to react to a certain thing or situation.
It's cathartic.
Exactly, Mary. So after the 3 weeks of acting, they transition into casting, where they get to audition. So even though they're writing the stories, they don't automatically get to star in it. They have to audition in front of each other. And together as a team, they decide. So we're teaching some life issues, life learning experiences as well. So they get to decide as a team who's gonna get cast in their film. Then we open it up for industry professionals to come and audition in front of the youth for some of the adult roles, and they decide together who they're gonna cast. So they become casting directors.
I love the notion that having a dream doesn't mean you get to star in it.
Yeah.
I'm about to throw my shoe. Ooh, that's so good. You need this program for adults. There's some adults that need to be in this program. I'm sorry.
No worries. So after the casting, we go into 1 day of production during the 10th week of the program. And that's when we partner with industry professionals to come in, directors. They bring their full crew, and we shoot the film. We turn the group homes into movie sets.